Hey, Junior. Got any threes? Go fish? How can you not have any threes? All right, fine. Mango, your turn. Oh, I don't know. Wasn't really listening when Cass explained that part. Say, let's go see what Boyo's up to. He's probably played this before. Maybe he knows.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, Nathan.
Welcome to another episode of Reckless Attack. Yay! I wanted 2 cheers to get the energy going. So, you know,
Hype.
exactly. And if you feel like there's another point as we're getting going that requires spontaneous cheers, I definitely encourage both you around the table and anyone at home to join in and just start screaming aloud, no matter whether you are driving, in the gym, or sitting here playing with us. Hey, but like this is a Reckless Attack, a 5e podcast.
Yay!
No, let's give the proper respect. We are Reckless Attack. We are a Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition actual play podcast in some amount of orders.
Nailed it.
God.
I'm pretty sure that's right.
I think that's right.
That is.
The what happened was that literally as I finished it, your dog put his whole face in between my legs at that exact moment, and so I was worried that there was an upward inflection that the listeners would have otherwise picked up on had I not addressed it.
Nathan, you've just been Arthur.
Yeah, thank you, Arthur. I appreciate your
just
participation.
Too cute and need all of the attention in the world.
It's just, excuse me, no one is looking at me. They're all looking at those dumb, not bone microphones, idiots. But hey, I'm Nathan. This has been the most scattered, I think, intros in the history of Reckless
I don't even know
Attack.
if that's true, actually.
That's probably true. On my end.
Yeah, it's been a long week today.
Yes.
It's
Correct.
been a long week this Monday.
Yeah, correct. Exactly. But I am excited once again to be joined by all of the lovely and powerful Reckless Attack players. We will start with some introductions, starting with
Hi, everyone. I'm Jonathan, and I play Checkers, the Grung Druid, and his trusty frog pals, Mango and Junior. And today, in the deep, dark forest, Checkers is having an excellent time running around, just looking at all the weird bones and skeletons and like all the fun things that he wouldn't get to see inside the city walls of Agmar. So, having a lovely time out here today. I'm gonna go across the table over to.
Oh, hello, everyone. I temporarily forgot my name.
It's been a long week today.
Have I mentioned how long today's been? My name is Steve, and I am playing Selv Asterlin, the Dragonborn monk, who is, at this time, a little bit better after the short rest, but I believe I have used all of his hit dice to try to regain not all of his hit points.
Oh, no.
So we're a little
feel
short. So however, all his key points are back, which if there is a fight coming up, I'm guessing it's going to be a lot of patient defense.
Worked so well the first time.
Yes. And across the table from me.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sophie, and I play Valeska Carter, the human asterisk cleric of the Arcana domain. And boy, does she want to go to sleep.
Out here
times.
in the forest, right?
Right.
Never.
That's going to be a big negatory on that one, I think.
And then across the table from me.
Hi, everyone. I'm David, and I play Cascarin Brightmane, the Dwarven Warlock, who's really channeling his teenage angst today. Just, you don't understand me, Mom. My Xbox. That's what they do right now.
Yeah,
They're not
right.
Teenagers.
They definitely, yeah. There's Xboxes, I
Okay,
think,
cool.
right? There's
Right.
still
I told you I spent
Xboxes.
the summer hunting Wolverines with my dad.
Yeah. I'm really in touch with the teenagers.
With the youths.
Yeah, the Gen Z.
We're
Zoomers?
millennials.
Yeah. Oh God, I don't know how time works.
Oh, no.
Everyone.
The us. Oh.
Just, I'm gonna throw this away before I delve too deep. Nathan,
Yeah, smart.
Nathan.
Bail out.
Yeah.
Well, we find ourselves in I feel like, pivotal moment in not just the adventure, not just in the podcast, but of, I think, your guys' journey as a adventuring guild group. Long story short, you guys are outside the walls of Agmar. You have an undead centurion who was once rapidly trying to rip you all apart under some degree of control. What you know is that you hopefully defeated the creature that caused this to happen, the strange smoke creature that you faced down, and you know that there is one other member of the Bones, the undead guard of Agmar, somewhere out in the woods. And you know where they are, but it's in the wrong direction. There was a lot of discussion last episode around what the prudent and what the right courses of action were, and whether they were the same or different. The vote was to head back to the safety of the Red City with the one untethered that you had managed to pacify and hopefully save. And there were some dissenting opinions. The group was split in half, and specifically Kaskrin, well, Checkers also voted to keep out, but for different, less dramatic reasons.
But more fun reasons.
But more fun reasons. David, what was Kaskrin's kind of like, his reasoning for wanting to stay out, for wanting to try and go after the other member of the Bones, or this potentially dangerous, untethered, undead creature?
So, as Kaskrin has been listening to this discussion, we've all been trying to decide whether we go or whether we try to find the Bones. And he has been tensing up until the moment when we decided, no, we need to go back to Agmar. We need to make sure that we are safe, and it will be a better choice for us to come back in the morning with reinforcements or with the daylight behind us. And Kaskrin knows the Bones, if he's untethered, is undergoing a lot. He, is trapped in his own head if we leave him there. He knows that if he is not untethered, he may be lost. He may be unable to find his way back to Agmar due to distance. But either way, Kaskrin wants to find him because he is a fellow soldier. And so when he is talking to Valeska, and Valeska says, I understand what you're going through, Kaskrin is thinking, how could you possibly understand the pain of having your comrades leave, of knowing that there is no hope, no possible way to get home? And so Kaskrin, from the bottom of his heart, says, no, Valeska Carter, you do not understand what it means to be left. And he turns away.
As Cass turns, Val grabs his arm to stop him. Val has had a incredibly emotionally tolling battle happen. Her core being has been pulled into question during this fight by a spirit or creature that saw something nobody else in her group, her guild, knows about. And that has terrified her and shaken something she thought would never move. That was a unfaltering beacon in her life. And that emotional toll is just coming out as one of her best friends says, "You don't understand?" That to Val is one of the worst things you could possibly say. Val has always sought knowledge, sought to understand, and has lived in a community that is always willing to explain. And I think people forget that she is 18. She's a kid. So it's like a slap in the face to her for Cass to say that. So as Val grabs Cass's arm to stop him, and she comes across this immovable stone force that is Casgrin Brightmane, she stands directly in front of Casgrin and looks him in the eyes. And he sees her trying to put a tough face on, but there are tears in her eyes. You're right, Cass. I don't understand. And I don't want to. I'm afraid. I love all of you. And I don't want to lose any one of you. That's why I want to head back. But if it's important enough to you, you better damn explain to me why. Why are our lives worth risking for the bones? I want to save him. I do. I was so scared when the fortunate could have been turned. I know we've met her twice. But to serve this city so long, they deserve our help so much. If we go to the bones now, and they're untethered, we have to kill them. We don't have any more manacles. I've been inside their mind, Cass. It's pure torture. I want to save them. I want to bring them back to themselves. I don't want to lose them.
And I don't want to lose them either, Valeska. But this may be our best chance to save this Bones. Whether we bring him back to Agmar, or whether we end his service. You've been in his mind, but I don't know that you've ever felt what being truly lost is like. What being alone and left behind, abandoned by your comrades, what that feels like. But I know. When I first joined the Guard, when I first left the city on a patrol, not unlike this one, there were no maps. The world had changed, and there was no way to know that just beyond some bushes was a cliff, a fall into a ravine. And so I stepped past those bushes and I fell. And for 3 days and 3 nights, I was by myself, with no hope. Until I heard a voice. One of my fellow soldiers. came calling for me. He was a young boy, and he fought against his commanding officer, fought against every instinct to go back to safety, and he came for me. And ever since then, I know that I have to be that light, that savior for anyone that I can be. It's just, I don't know how to explain it, Valeska. There is no rational reason. There is no logic that we must put ourselves in danger for others, but it is something that I would do. It's something that I would go through anything for others to not have to feel alone, to feel left behind.
Okay, Cass.
Selv will kind of come up behind the two of you, put one hand on Val's shoulder and one hand on Cass's shoulder.
The smart thing is to go back to Agmar. The wise thing is to go back to Agmar. But the good thing is to go and see if that member of the Bones needs our help. I would like to change how I voted previously and suggest that we go after him.
At Selv's comment about changing his vote, Val gives a little smile and just nods, gives both Selv and Cass a look and a nod, and turns around, ready to walk the other way.
I underestimated you, Valeska Carter. Thank you.
No problem, Cass. But don't ever tell me I don't understand again.
Well, it's about time y'all came to your senses. Come on, we're burning daylight.
How did you end up 50 feet ahead of us?
I've been here the whole time while you guys were talking about your mumbo-jumbo nonsense. I mean, it's right over there. Come on, let's get going.
Val again just shakes her head.
So, Checkers is far out ahead from everyone, it sounds like. But Selv and Val, you both turn and start taking steps in the direction not of the Red City of Agmar, but of what Val knows to be the direction of whatever lies at the location of this Lost Bones member. And Cass, you pause for a second. And Val and Selv particularly, and Checkers too, you're not so far away that you wouldn't see this. A huge flash of light explodes from behind you. Of gleaming golden light. All three of you would see that Cascarin is glowing with this. It's not as bright as it was. Again, there's this like almost sun flash. And now is just bathed in a golden light that is emanating from his armor, from his rocky skin, from everything he's touching, even a little bit from the ground he's standing on. You can tell that this is a moment that is fading quickly. With every passing micro moment, the light fades just a little bit, and it gets a little bit less grand and beautiful and overwhelming. And you all hear a voice, deep and comforting. Say something in a language you do not understand, that you don't even recognize as a language, other than clearly it is saying something. Deep, comforting tones. Just a few words, and the glow subsides. And Kaskrin, you feel a little bit more powerful.
Kaskrin, as he's feeling the light wash over him and he hears these words in a language that he doesn't understand, he feels within himself just the same heaviness of obligation, of duty that sort of represents his connection with the Eternal Citadel. And in that moment, as the light fades, he comes up to Valeska. You know, he just walks up and kind of like gingerly takes your hand in that same way that sometimes you just want to be like touching someone, just holding someone's hand. And he doesn't really know what's happened to him, but in that moment when he takes your hand, Valeska, it's like some of the weight has been taken off a little bit. It's like maybe he doesn't have to do this all by himself.
Val is standing there holding Cass's hand, just like dumbstruck at this point. Like, it's been a lot, 10 minutes.
Today has been a long week.
Yeah. It's been a long week for Val, for the guild. And she's just...
Reckless Attack the podcast.
So she squeezes Cass's hand and feels his reassurance and feels a little bit better, but confused.
Are you interested, Sophie and or Val, to see if you know what just happened?
Absolutely.
I thought you might be, and again, I try to avoid calling for too many rolls, but I'm just, throwing that out there. It's a very hard check. I'll, preface it, but it's not an unreachable
so
check.
Val, being like a little both dumbstruck and awestruck, sitting there, takes a breath, but then cocks her head, like, well, what the fuck just happened?
Mm-hmm.
And cast guidance.
Seems reasonable. Religion check.
Okay.
Is what I'm looking for.
That's a 1 on the die.
Yeah, so it is just too overwhelming. Like, it is such an alien, and again, knowing that this is a world of magic and of strange occurrences, and you're adventuring with the frog and a dragon and a guy who's made out of rock. There's just a lot of weirdness that is kind of inherent in your existence. But this particular thing was so, like you said, like awe-inspiring. So it just like almost like shut down your senses seeing it. It was so strange and almost comforting and beautiful that you're at a total loss of what that is.
I guess that's a good sign.
Well, we're not dead yet.
Yeah, this isn't like the last time I saw a big flash where like I got slowed and got run over by a boar. It sucked.
Unless we've all been slowed and have no rate of comparison.
Val looks for a bug flying.
I think this is a good thing, Salve.
Hey, David.
Yeah.
Would you like to know what things you have now?
No, I wouldn't. No, yes, I would like to know.
I mean, I guess I can just give it to
Okay.
Checkers. Checkers can have these
Checker
things.
starts to glow and feels a little voice.
Well, it feels a little silly, but first of all, you both get inspiration for being good at Dungeons and Dragons. So good job.
Oh, me?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, that wasn't entirely.
No,
I was
because of Mike discipline, you kind of only looked at Jonathan.
right.
And I was like,
well, but in
okay.
between the both of you, you two,
Yeah.
David, Kaskrin has 2 new abilities.
Ooh.
Wow, what?
First, you have an ability called Beacon of Light, which is once per short rest, you can cast Light as a 2nd level spell.
Sweet.
The more exciting and dramatic one, Heroic Interposal. Once per day, you can immediately change places with an ally within 30 feet of you, provoking no opportunity attacks. This takes 15 feet of your movement. So say, if someone is bearing down on, we'll say Val, just because Val is the one least interested in being borne down upon, and she is within 30 feet of you, you can spend 15 feet of movement, and she is now standing where you are, and you are now standing where she was.
The Eternal Citadel is allowing you to castle.
Oh my god.
Once per day, Heroic Interposal.
Incredible.
And just one point of clarification. Casting Light as a 2nd level spell?
Indeed.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought you might find that interesting, Steve. For reasons that Steve knows, and that I'm sure you will all find out. But we'll address that as we go.
Hello, and welcome to this week's Meditation Midroll. Begin in a comfortable seated position, or lying down, and when you're settled, close your eyes. With your eyes closed, begin to focus on your breathing. Take a nice, deep breath through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Feel your belly fill up with air, and then let it go. As you keep breathing, take this opportunity to think about something that you are grateful for. For example, the Reckless Attack YouTube channel, where we post all our episodes, as well as videos from our Twitch stream. Or the How to Promo Guide on our Coffee, a pay-what-you-want resource about creating your brand and building your social media presence. Now, as you take one more deep breath, slowly open your eyes and enjoy the rest of the episode.
So, with one of you feeling newly empowered and the rest of you feeling probably a lot of other things, you guys turn your backs on the red city of Agmar and begin walking. Now, Val, you used a spell slot to pinpoint the location of where the member of the bones is. And it's a very interesting sensation. It's an interesting combination of you don't know exactly where it is, like you don't have predator vision and see like an outline a mile away or anything like that. But you just have this sense of the exact direction you need to go. Not necessarily where it is, anything, it's just I need to go this way. Mm-hmm. Period. Or I need to take these steps forward to get to where I need to go. And so the rest of you essentially being blind in this in ways that almost might be frustrating for some of the more naturally minded of you, where Val is not even necessarily taking you in a straight line. She is weaving you around obstacles you didn't even know were there. She is taking you in places that make no sense to be, going in that direction. It's like, well, no, I think we're supposed to go that way, but you're telling us, your senses are telling us to go a little left. Okay, but unerringly, you remain going in that direction. As you are walking, you still have the member of the Bones who you had rescued. And you still feel that faint aura of not goodness. What are you going to say, something?
I was going to say discomfort.
Yeah, discomfort is really the word for it. It doesn't feel great to be standing next to them, though it is not as intense as when you were standing next to the Fortunate coming out here, for example, or really any time that you are next to a member of the Bones. But even that little bit seems to keep a lot of wildlife away. As you're walking, you have an eerie feeling of, oh, you're still hearing birds, you're still hearing crashes, you're still hearing all of the both wonderful and sweet sounds and the lightly horrifying sounds that, like, well, of course we're in a forest, we're going to hear crashing and trees falling and, oh, that's, I don't know, giant footsteps, but that's a ways off, we don't need to worry about it. Casual fantasy forest travel. But there is almost a bubble where no birds are singing, where there is no squirrels chittering, squirreling.
I like chittering, yeah.
I like squirreling, though.
Doing squirrel stuff. And it's not a magical silence or anything. You still hear things, but it's just it's just eerie. Jonathan.
Hi.
Could you roll me, we'll say a D100, because you never get to roll D100s often
I would
in
love
this
to roll.
Dungeons & Dragons game.
That is a 30.
So not even in miles, but somehow just in the time spent traveling there, you were traveling an hour. And it's an hour in the wrong direction. But you travel an hour, taking this winding path that seemingly only Val can feel out. And you get to your location. Val, very suddenly, you've been feeling like, okay, I'm getting closer. And suddenly when you're within probably like a couple 100 feet, it goes from kind of this general sense of, I need to go this direction. And, I just can only follow that tug. Mm-hmm. To very suddenly your senses honing in and knowing exactly where you need to go. But the forest is very dense. You do not see anything. It is also getting a little darker already. It's a little later in the day. The canopy is thick. So, who's to say? And that is where I leave to you guys as to how you'd like to approach.
While we've been traveling, how much noise has the shackled, the newly tethered been making?
So, as always, a weird amount or a weirdly not a lot amount. It is not as stealthy as the Fortunate. The Fortunate, and really all members of the Bones, move with a very creepy silence for them being just bones walking around in full plate armor. But this one is genuinely still moving with a pretty good amount of quiet, but is also clearly not able to make choices to make itself stealthy.
And Kaskrin turns to Checkers and says, I have a dumb idea.
Oh, that sounds fine.
Oh, no.
Don't worry, Self. I'm technically the only one who knows where the Bones is.
Oh,
They need me.
So we already know that trying to sneak up on this thing is probably not going to work.
Yeah, it seemed to know where I was pretty much immediately.
Working theory, could that be because we detect as alive? You know, it knows that we have 2 spleens and an organ and everything.
2 spleens and 1 organ.
And 1 organ.
Well,
Val
yeah.
is too tired to correct the anatomy right now.
Technically, none of you are trained in medicine, so he might be right. You don't
We
know.
are
We have at
so
least 1
different.
organ. Checkers, what if you take this tethered with you to scout and see if the aura that it provides is enough to mask you?
Ah.
Maybe it won't find you then.
I don't think it's a matter of an aura of an undead, of the bones. I think the bones, the second a living creature is within a certain distance, will find you.
Selv will kind of put his hand up and kind of gesture all around and be like,
Lots of living creatures. Maybe Junior can scout. Maybe it's only certain size.
That's ridiculous. You would send this little baby frog off to scout?
Well,
How could you heartless soul?
What a
I
monster.
would not be sending it.
How I need to ask, how large of a shit-eating grin does Checkers have when he says that?
Like-
Or is he
Yeah,
playing it
can I vibe
100%
check
straight?
No, like, it is 100% shit-eating grin. It's like, you heartless monster. How could you send a little baby frog out?
knowing that he has this morning off screen had Junior do way more dangerous
Oh, yeah.
things.
Yes.
God, I'm just like, cut to fucking Checkers up on a very tall building in Agmar before you left, and like you talking to Junior in your hands and being like, "Don't worry, Junior, I made this parachute just all by myself. It'll definitely work. All right, hold on," and then just chucking the frog.
I also had this image of Checkers up on a building somewhere, but it's more like,
See, Junior, you see that eagle over there? Go fetch.
Anyway,
Just
anyway.
loading Junior into his crossbow.
yeah.
Exactly.
And then then there's the
Don't worry, I can always resummon you.
Junior puts the goggles
Yeah,
down.
right?
We've had this
Yeah,
conversation
right?
before.
So,
Val just turns to look at Checkers.
I mean, hey, that sounds like a lot of fun. So, yeah, let's do it.
Let's try sending Junior first. Please.
2 quick things. I like the plan of sending Junior ahead just to see if, the undead, or just to see if the untethered notices an additional frog around it. On top.
Actually, you guys have all misread it. They have frog sense.
Oh, no.
And that is why it got activated the first time, is because there was frogs in proximity.
And as we're kind of talking, Checkers kind of remembers, oh yeah, Val, I found a whole bunch of these earlier too. You should take a look. And he pulls a whole bunch of these scraps of something out of a pouch somewhere and just hands them to you.
Val takes them and
And they look like
looks at them.
and they look like various pieces of the shattered armbands that the bones were wearing, but just split up into a million pieces. I think there's 2 in there somewhere.
Only 2.
Can they be mended?
Eh.
Not right now.
Would you like to?
I picked a locate object, guys.
And you would also know that mend the cantrip or the spell would this is hefty
Yeah.
magic. That
Well,
you
it would,
would have
it
to-
would,
I
it would
could-
put the pieces back together.
Yeah, I
Maybe,
This
this
can
is
I do an Arcana check?
Absolutely.
Guidance.
I almost suggested you do it again, but I was like, no, Nathan, they can choose their own roles.
You have to let them grow.
Exactly.
Can I actually help in the Arcana check?
Sure. What are you doing to help?
So I imagine part of what stone cutting is for dwarves is identifying patterns and engravings and things in stone. And Caskrin's trying to take some of that and seeing are there any specific patterns or glyphs or carvings in these bands that make them work the way they do.
Cool. You have aided.
Ah,
Never rolling that frosted die again. That's
Needed
2
that.
ones in a
Needed
row.
that aid.
So that will be a 22.
Ooh. As you are looking at it, Checkers is mostly right. It is definitely, because Checkers, when he found it, it was in 2 different locations. So clearly, these are different bits. As you are looking at it, it is not 2 complete bands. It is parts of 2 that you could make into certainly 1 full band with some scraps, or are 2 3/4, we will say, bands, if that makes
2
sense.
2 3/4 or 1 3/4?
1.5 oh god, fractions.
You are correct.
There is
1.5.
there is
total.
1 band.
And then some extra.
Yeah, it's like one. It's like 3/4 of 1 band, 3/4 of another band.
Right,
is
right.
what you have.
Okay,
making
gotcha.
1.5
Yes.
bands.
I just want to know if there's enough that a third one broke. From what I can tell from here.
From what you can tell, and from what Checkers found, you would know. No, like you were only found the scraps for 2.
Okay.
I don't suppose we can just put one together out of all of this, can we?
I mean, I'm really good at puzzles.
So,
Well, you should.
What was your total
on
roll?
This puzzle by the
22.
stream.
for
Branding.
synergy, I've taught you well.
It's all coming together.
It is. It is. Spoiler alert, Steve and I have actually been working on this exact moment for 4 months. So you would know with that Arcana roll that even if you were like the pieces are not broken perfectly. Like you wouldn't be able to just kind of slot them together. And even if you were, or even able to like come up with enough material for 1 band, it is well beyond your capabilities, especially out here,
Yeah.
to reforge it.
Cass had said that he's kind of looking for patterns and stuff in the...
Yeah.
So Salvo just asked,
Do any of the patterns look the same as the ones on the manacles?
Yeah, 100%. Like, you can tell as you're looking at them, they are different patterns, but are very clearly in the weird way that magical runic writings
It's
and
like
stuff
they're
are.
different hieroglyphics, but I can tell they're hieroglyphics.
Yeah, and it's even, I would say it's even closer than that, where it's like, oh yeah,
so
these are...
one is like a printed block letters and one is a scripted calligraphy
Yeah,
version.
right, exactly. Or something like that, where it's like, okay, they changed a couple of letters, and so it does something a little different, but is clearly of the same make, and kind of that same, it is clearly the same style, too. Like, it is, and anyone who knows anything about the Pentarchy, like, classic Pentarchy engineering and, like, metallurgy and stuff,
Is
for
this
sure.
maker speak?
Good question. So, Makerspeak is one of the languages that descended from the gods, where there was a god language, and one of the ones that the mortals kind of like took as their own and created things was Makerspeak, or language of the makers originally. And this is actually, because you know both of these languages, is a combination of a specific dialect of Makerspeak and bits of the actual language of magic,
Ooh.
which is very rare to see. The language of magic is at best partially understood, very, very rarely applied, and when it is applied is for extremely powerful magics. Only the most learned, the most powerful, the most well-connected of wizards and sorcerers and crafters had even a letter of the kind of original language of magic. And that's what this is.
Is that on both the scraps and the manacles, or
Yes.
just the... Okay.
Both written with kind of similar, again, they're different enough that you can't read them, but you recognize the lettering, basically.
I can't fix these right now. And Val is actually packaging, she's like wrapping them in cloth very carefully. I can't fix these now. I will need a lot of resources and help, but there is a potential to fix them. And Val just keeps gently packaging them up because she knows if she continues to look at them, she will just like devolve into like her mind palace and just try to solve what these say. And she's like, no, I can't.
Can't do that right now.
Not now. We need to continue.
So, Checkers / mostly Junior.
Yeah.
We have a plan.
Yes. One thing Selv will...
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yes. So Selv will kind of reach back into his bag and take out the immovable rod.
What if we attach this to the manacles and then get something to tie up the other if they are untethered? Is it like magical heat where it would transfer through the rod to whatever we tie up the untethered with?
Could you imagine how powerful the immovable rod suddenly would be of just being able to like immediately share magic between all things as a magical superconductor?
I don't think that's how that works.
Alas, nay.
What if we feed it a bean from the bag of beans?
No, that one. That's a bad plan.
Which one is riskier, the immovable rod or the bag of beans?
God,
Did we bring the bag of beans?
The listening audience did not hear it, but Jonathan just side-eyed over at Sophie and pantomimed holding up a bag.
Did we bring it? No. Did I bring
one
it?
who
Yes.
didn't like. Did I just black out during when we went to the vault? Was I like not here?
We're just like secretly looting the vault while you're not paying attention.
It's all been encoded with your various handprints and such.
In Selv's defense,
Checkers doesn't have to explain this at all, but Selv does.
Self definitely has
so
to.
unless the reason I have it is unless I misheard when we were down in the vault, we're like everybody was like, "Oh, Selv should hang on to this."
I fully just don't remember it.
Okay.
It's not on you. It's just on me. Where I was like,
So if I recall correctly what happened, and I'm sure eagle-eared listeners can correct us, but this is the new canon, and fuck you, is essentially that once you guys decided, oh, okay, we are going out and potentially taking this quest and all that kind of stuff, that there was a trip to the vault, and we kind of just did it off air, and we're like,
hand-waved
we'll assign all the things and blah blah blah, either in the next episode or off air or maybe never, or as Checkers pulls out bags of beans, whatever it is.
Great.
But so you're not wrong.
okay,
But I think that's how we handled it.
gotcha. Yeah, no, Checkers. From what I remember of the bag of beans, you don't want the bones to eat that. I don't think that's really the best defense in this situation.
Plan B then, that's fine. B for beans.
There's always going to be for the rest of the campaign, always going to be a plan B, and B is beans.
I'm just going to say B might not be our second choice, though.
Well, right.
Yeah.
That there's plan 1, there's plan 1A, 1B, 1C, to infinity, and then there's plan B, which is plan beans. So, Checkers.
You know it's going to come up in like a couple
it's
years.
Chekhov's bag of beans.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We're finishing this off, and it's going to be like Checkers, plan B, and you're just going to be like, what?
Oh, I ate all of those.
Yeah.
So the way I'm imagining this working is Junior's going to start hopping. And Junior's actually pretty slow, so it might take a little bit of time.
He's just a little
we
frog.
can get
we'll get
closer.
closer.
But
Or you can throw him.
Yeah.
Catapult him.
But as this is happening too, Checkers is starting to pull out like little bits of rope that he's collected from earlier in the day, and he's actually going to start putting together some kind of trap for the untethered. So as we get closer, and maybe while we have maybe a little bit of time before Junior fully gets up there, he's going to spend some time setting up a trap in the forest.
Okay. While you have some time, could you roll me a survival check? Does that seem reasonable?
As Val sees Checkers, hopefully doing something good,
Doing something for sure.
she'll cast guidance on him.
Just palming.
and really just hope It's not going to backfire.
May you find the answers you seek, I
Yeah.
guess.
What Checkers is doing is he's palming a bean in his hands. No.
But yeah, survival.
21.
Ooh.
You can add a D4 to that.
Fuck.
24.
What I was going to say is I'll probably treat that as, I think, the passive perception for some, or the perception that someone would have to beat. So, like, as far as you guys can tell, Checkers is doing something, and then he just steps away, and nothing's there.
And it's the forest.
And it's the forest.
Val just makes a mental note of where that is.
Smart,
And
yep.
is not going there.
Yep, 100% good call. Okay, so are you doing anything in particular with Junior, knowing that he is your familiar?
So every so often, the two of them are communicating telepathically. So as long as we're still within 100 feet of Junior, Checkers can just check in on Junior and see how he's doing. And he can also see through Junior's eyes. So this whole, like, Junior's getting a little bit closer and Checkers is checking in and seeing through his eyes and seeing at what point can he see something resembling the untethered.
Okay, and what does it look like? Because if I recall correctly, it's an action to enter into the mind of
Yeah.
Junior. What does it look like when Checkers is kind of in that space, I guess?
So I'm imagining that it doesn't really look that different than what Checkers looks like normally. I was originally thinking like, oh, Checkers' eyes go like fully black, but they're already black anyway.
Yep.
So
I know, I was thinking, it's like,
Yeah.
you're going to get a creepy,
Yeah.
cloudy white.
Yeah, no.
I don't know if I like that.
yeah, so I don't even think.
Sorry, I was imagining if Checkers had that, like, weird, like, third lens.
Oh,
That,
yeah.
like, alligators
Ooh,
have or
yeah.
something.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And maybe, like, your
so it's
sunglasses
like,
going. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. yeah, so
I could also have totally made up that animal fact. I don't remember, but it
Oh,
seems
yeah.
cool.
I'm gonna imagine then like Checkers has like these cloudy like third lens
Yeah.
on his eyes, and they just like shut while he's looking through Junior's eyes.
I love that a lot.
Yep. And you've never seen this before because he doesn't do it that often. But like as he's sort of riding on top of Mango, he's staring straight ahead, and his eyes are like this translucent, cloudy color, and you know that he is looking and watching through the eyes of his small frog friend.
Or he's on the fruit again.
Yeah.
So Junior, and you guys can't see Junior, I don't think. Like, he is
Yeah.
way too small, and this forest is way too intense. So the only person who knows where Junior is Checkers. Junior hops along, as he is wont to do. And you start to notice some caves. Val isn't there, and so can't really also tell you exactly, can give you what best direction she can.
Yeah.
So Junior / Checkers has to just jump and watch and try to look and see what, if anything, sticks out.
Yeah.
After a few minutes of hopping, you / Junior look into a cave that you just happen to be passing by. And there are all of these overgrown roots arching over the entrance. But Junior / Checkers looks past them and sees a seemingly still form of a member of the Bones. It is still fully armored, and it seems to be laying there totally limp. And you see that its left hand is grasping its right arm, kind of in the bicep area, where the magical band is located. As you are kind of taking this whole scene in, I'd imagine your eyes linger on that very important detail.
Yeah.
And you can see between its gauntleted fingers the band on this individual. But again, it is not moving. It is nothing. The other thing that you see is it appears to be laying on some sort of what appears to be rope, which again wouldn't stand out to you,
Yeah.
except you're just looking so closely at this, trying to find all the details you can, and there's so much roots, and there's dirt, and there's everything, and it's just like, wait, hold on, that's interesting. You've never seen anything like that on any Bones member, nothing. But it appears to not be doing anything. It is just laying there, totally inert.
So at this point, Checkers would recall Junior. And the ways he would do this is he would go over to Cass and just go, "Hey Cass, you want to see a trick?"
Yeah, sure.
So Checkers is going to put his hand behind Cass's ear, and he's gonna do the recall a familiar kind of thing, where he desummons Checker, or desummons Junior, and resummons him in his hand, and just like, Cass, you got a frog in your ear. What's going on?
Where did that come from?
Seems like a good use of a spell slot.
Yeah.
And it takes Cascarin a second to realize what you just did, and it's just like, was that there the whole time? Did I leave Junior on my head?
No. So you're not gonna believe this, but I think there is a bones up ahead in one of the caves, and I saw its armband on it. But it's sitting on a pile of rope, and I don't know what that means. But I think we're close.
So that could mean that maybe the band was ripped and it's holding it on in order to maintain control. Maybe the rope it was trying to retie the band to its arm.
Or hold itself in the cave. If the untethered
Or
had
it tied itself to the cave in case it lost control.
Didn't seem like it was tied.
It's just on a pile of rope.
Yeah.
Whatever it means there's a chance. It hasn't found us. It doesn't seem to be untethered. There still seems to be a chance we could save it.
I'm gonna get ready to set the trap, but I think you're right.
Okay. So, the four of you, and if you were to leave the member of the Bones that you already have manacled, it literally would just stand there. Like, you wouldn't have to worry about it wandering off. It is just totally placid. So, you guys go up, and you guys know, especially Val, knows, okay, if we go any closer, there's no way. Like, it is
will
certainly, if it is untethered, it will know that we are here. So do you guys step forward?
I think we should spread out, and I think
I'll stay in back with this fine fellow.
okay.
And
I'll
Val and-
volunteer
Val and the-
bravely to stay back here.
Val
Thank
and the
you.
bone
And
sits in the back.
Selv will say,
We should spread out, and I can go first since I move faster. Just in case.
Just be careful. I'm gonna put this trap right here, so you're gonna wanna hop over it.
okay, I am going to note exactly where that
Yep.
trap is.
Sel, before you walk off, Cascarin will actually reach into his pocket and hand you the lucky coin. When you take the coin, almost instantly, you can tell where Cascarin is. It's like when you close your eyes and move your arms and legs around, you know where they are. It's now the same with Cascarin while you have that coin.
Oh, that's creepy.
Cascarin casts Warding Bond on you. So you have +1 to armor, and you take half damage from everything.
Oh,
Cool.
like for how long?
1 hour.
Oh,
Let's do this, Self.
So, you spread out, except for, well, Val also spreads out, but on a different axis. Backwards.
Also
a bit.
notes exactly where that trap is, and it's like behind him a little bit at an angle. She does her battle trigonometry.
Yes. Don't go over there. Stay
Yeah.
here.
Battle trigonometry.
And
She's
you
on
all,
a tangent.
you all get into the positions that you want, and you all just kind of, I'm imagining you, the three of you especially, just kind of look at each other, and then Selv takes those tentative few steps that you guesstimate is about the thing, the distance, and nothing happens. Eventually, in whatever order you guys decide, the three of you find yourselves looking down through this cave. And you see exactly what Checkers told you. There appears to be a member of the Bones laying totally limp and inert. on some strange pile of rope, holding its band. In a strange, echoey voice that sounds distant from within the armor, you hear, "Thank the gods." And that's where we'll end the episode, everybody.
All right.
Boom. See you next week.